A rookie astronaut accidentally drifts into a restricted alien zone. A massive alien warlord spots him from afar and mutters cautiously, that creature looks edible. Never seen his kind before. The alien starts charging toward the astronaut with deadly intent. The astronaut panics, but just as he's about to fire his thrusters and flee, he notices some broken armor and alien bones floating nearby. Suddenly, he gets an idea and shouts loudly, that was some delicious alien warlord meat! The alien instantly halts mid-charge and thinks, whoa! This guy is tougher than he looks. I'd better leave while I still can. Up on a nearby space station, a robotic drone witnessed everything. Realizing it could benefit, it zooms over to the alien and reveals the truth. Furious, the alien growls, "Get on my ship, we'll deal with him together." They both speed back toward the astronaut. Seeing them return, the astronaut starts to panic again, but then quickly comes up with another idea and yells loudly, "Where the hell is that drone? I told it to bring me another alien an hour ago." I'd hired a space station engineer to help me repair an old orbital base. It had already been a rough first day for him. He lost an hour to a malfunctioning airlock, his laser toolkit failed, and his transport shuttle refused to power up at the end of the shift. On the ride back to his living quarters, he sat beside me in complete silence, drained and clearly frustrated. When we finally docked, he invited me inside to meet his family. But as we walked toward the entrance, he paused beside a small glowing console mounted on the wall, and gently placed both hands on it for a moment. The instant the door slid open, the change was astonishing. His face lit up completely. He scooped up his 2 kids, greeted his partner with a warm hug, and laughed like he hadn't faced a single problem all day. Later, as he walked me back to my shuttle, we passed the glowing console again. I couldn't help but ask about it. "Oh, that's my trouble console," he said with a smile. "I can't stop problems from piling up at work, but I know one thing for sure, they don't belong inside with my family. So every night, I leave them there and trust the universe to take care of them. In the morning, I pick them back up." Then he gave a soft chuckle. "Funny thing is, when I come back the next day, there aren't nearly as many as I remember leaving behind. We could all use a console like that." Leo had just started his new job as a front desk receptionist at a luxury hotel after retiring. He was polite, well-dressed, and quick-witted, and guests absolutely loved him. There was just one small problem. He could never seem to arrive on time. Every day he'd walk in 5, 10, or sometimes 15 minutes late. Still, once he was there, he handled everything flawlessly. Eventually, the hotel manager called him into the office. "Leo, I really admire your professionalism," the manager said. "You're excellent with guests, and your work is outstanding. But your lateness is becoming an issue." "Yes, sir, I understand," Leo replied. "I'm working on fixing that." "I'm glad to hear it," the manager said. "You've got a great attitude. But I have to ask, since you used to be the CEO of a big company, what did people say when you showed up late back then?" Leo looked down, smiled, and gave a soft chuckle. Then he said, "Well, usually they'd say, 'Good morning, sir. Would you like your coffee now?'" Jack, an aging school principal, went to speak privately with the school counselor. "Sir," Jack began, "I've got to admit, I almost broke the rules." The counselor looked concerned. "What do you mean, almost?" "Well," Jack said, "we got a bit too close. There was some hugging and a bit of inappropriate behavior, but I stopped before it went too far." The counselor sighed. "Jack, crossing that line even a little is the same as going all the way. As a consequence, you'll need to donate $50 to the school fund and reflect on your actions." Jack nodded, agreed, and walked over to the donation box. He paused for a second, then turned and started to leave. "Hold on," the counselor called out. "I saw that, you didn't put the money in." Jack smiled and said, "Well, I rubbed it on the box. And by your logic, that's the same as putting it in." A man finds out his wife is cheating on him. So he walks into a bar. The bartender asks, "Why are you looking so blue?" The man replies, "I just found out my wife is cheating on me. I've decided I'm going to drink myself to death. I'll have some whiskey, please." The bartender looks shocked and says, "I'm sorry, but I can't help you kill yourself." The man asks, "Well, what would you do in my situation?" The bartender thinks for a bit and says, "If I found out a guy was sleeping with my wife, I wouldn't sit around feeling sorry for myself. I'd kill the guy." The man jumps up from his stool and shouts, "That's a great idea! Thanks!" and runs out of the bar. A couple hours go by, and the bartender is starting to get nervous. Suddenly the man walks back into the bar with a big smile on his face. "Did you kill the guy?" the bartender asks nervously. "Nope. I slept with your wife. Whiskey, please." Leo married a woman who had previously been engaged 10 times, but somehow, every engagement had ended before the wedding night. On their honeymoon evening, she turned to Leo and said softly, "Please be gentle. I'm still completely inexperienced." Leo blinked in confusion. "Wait, what? How is that possible after 10 engagements?" She smiled and began explaining. "Well, fiancé number 1 was a motivational speaker. He just kept telling me how amazing it would be someday. Fiancé number 2 worked in IT. He wasn't really sure how things worked but promised to figure it out and get back to me. Fiancé number 3 was a technician. He said everything looked fine, but he just couldn't get things started. Fiancé number 4 was in customer service. He confirmed the request but never followed through. Fiancé number 5 was a designer. He wanted years to plan the perfect experience. Fiancé number 6 worked in management. He wasn't sure if it was even his responsibility. Fiancé number 7 was in advertising. He talked a big game but never delivered. My fiancé number 8 was a therapist. All he ever did was talk about it. Fiancé number 9 was a specialist. He just examined the situation and left. Fiancé number 10 was an art collector. He simply admired him from a distance." Leo grinned widely and asked, "Well then, what about me?" She looked at him and said, "Well, you're a lawyer. This time, I know I'm finally going to get billed for it." After a long day at a tech convention, it was time for the final attraction, Zayn the Mind Controller. Zayn stepped onto the stage and confidently announced that he would synchronize the minds of the entire audience at once. The crowd fell completely silent as he slowly pulled out a sleek, glowing energy orb attached to a thin chain. "Everyone, focus on the orb," Zayn said softly. "Just follow the orb, follow the orb." He began swinging it gently from side to side, and hundreds of people sat frozen, eyes locked as it moved. Back and forth, back and forth. "Follow the orb, follow the orb." Just as the entire audience was slipping into a deep trance, the chain suddenly snapped. The orb crashed to the ground and shattered into pieces. Zayn looked down and muttered, "Shit." It took 3 days to reset the entire convention hall, and Zayn was never invited back again. A successful tech entrepreneur was sitting in a high-end futuristic cafe on a space station when a ragged-looking traveler walked in and sat beside him. The traveler said, "I've got a device you're going to want to buy, but I should warn you, it costs 1 million credits." The entrepreneur smirked. "That thing? It's not worth 10 credits, let alone 1 million. The traveler calmly pressed a button on the device. Instantly, a holographic assistant appeared and said, "Sir, what is your request?" The entire cafe fell silent as the traveler said, "I'd like a cup of hot coffee with sugar." The assistant blinked, and suddenly a steaming cup of coffee appeared out of thin air, complete with sugar and a stirrer. The entrepreneur stared in disbelief. Without hesitation, he transferred 1 million credits and grabbed the device. They confirmed the payment, then went their separate ways. The entrepreneur rushed back to his luxury suite, sat down, and pressed the button. The holographic assistant appeared again. "Sir, what is your request?" Grinning widely, he said. First, I want my million credits back. Then I want a private spaceship, a luxury villa on Mars, and a fleet of robots. The assistant paused, then said awkwardly, I'm very sorry, sir. I only do coffee and tea. Would you like sugar with that?
That was funny. Hope you like it. Like, subscribe, and share.